Welcome to Win the Day from Back to the Bible. I'm your coach, Pastor Nat, and today we will talk about spiritual fatherhood. In today's culture, parental, marital, and even gender roles are all messed up. In fact, even generalizing anyone along these terms can put a large target on your back. But it shouldn't. There are differences between a man and a woman. There are differences between a husband and a wife. There are differences between a mother and a father. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 7 through 8, Paul compares himself and his ministry partners to a caring mother, nursing her children. One of the roles of a mother is to be gentle and nurturing. Now, of course, fathers will do some of this, but there are other roles he is regularly called to play. Like what? Well, let's go back to the Bible for the answer. Paul writes this in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, beginning in verse 9. For you remember, brothers, our labor and toil. We worked night and day, that we might not be a burden to any of you while we proclaim to you the gospel of God. You are witnesses, and God also, how holy and righteous and blameless was our conduct toward you believers. You may be wondering, where on earth do I see fatherhood in these two verses? Well, Paul will make the official transition in verse 11. It's there he writes, like a father with his children. So you see, friend, I'm not crazy. So what exactly are fathers called to do? Well, they are called to provide. Paul was a tent maker. I've heard many Christians use this term to describe their bivocational approach to ministry. So during the days, Paul would make tents, and I have no doubt he would set up shop next to others in the marketplace to share the gospel. So this tent making was for ministry and for financial support. Yes, Paul was supported by local churches, but he never wanted to be a burden. That's why he says, you remember our labor and toil. We worked night and day. It's not that Paul and his friends were pulling 7-day-a-week, 24-hour shifts at the tent stall. He was saying that during the day, he worked to provide and minister. And in the evenings and night, he was with the sheep, in the synagogues, and scattering the seeds of the gospel. You see, the work of a Christian is never done. Fathers provide, but fathers also lead by example. We know that the 14 to 17-year-olds are the largest group of Christian defectors from the faith. Why is this? One reason is there is an inconsistency between what people say they believe and how they live. Fathers are called to lead the home in their words and in their actions. How can a person do this? How did Paul do this with his spiritual children? Well, Paul tells us in verse 10, you are witnesses, and God also, how holy and righteous and blameless was our conduct toward you believers. Paul says that they were holy, righteous, and blameless. Now, these words sound like they're synonymous, and to a certain degree they are, but each has a unique meaning. Holy means to carefully fulfill the duties God gives to a person. Righteous means to be a person of integrity and character. And blameless means not able to find fault. We would say living a life above reproach. If more people did this in life and in the home, we would have a stronger church and a stronger spiritual family. Paul says it's time to lead by example and provide to remove burdens to the church and each other. So here's my challenge for you today. Paul set up shop wherever he was for ministry. It was where he worked to provide. It was there in his daily actions and words. Ministry was always happening. It's true for us today. So wherever you are today and wherever you go, remember, we will scatter the seeds of the gospel and water it with our lives and our words. So set up shop and proclaim the gospel of God. When you do, you will win the day.